I was lucky enough to be in attendance this past weekend when the UFC Octagon touched down in Philadelphia, and in case you haven't heard by now, Justin Gaethje lit that place on fire by producing as emphatic as a knockout as you'll ever see when he blasted Edson Barboza en route to a victory halfway through the very first round. The atmosphere that fight produced at the Wells Fargo Center was remarkable. On paper, this fight had all the makings for an exhilarating contest with an extraordinary finish, and that's exactly what we got. Coming into this contest, a lot of the narrative surrounding it was that it was a very fun fight on paper, but not a fight that has any title implications in the sport's most talent-rich division. The lightweight division is just too blocked up, and there's a lengthy list of suitable and deserving contenders in line, and when it comes to this sport, I think we're all guilty of having a recency bias when it comes to trying to project where everyone stands. But I don't know what it is. I cannot put my finger on it, but there's something about Gaethje's win over Barboza on Saturday night that was special. Perhaps it was his demeanor in the lead up to this fight, his body of work that came before it, and whom he did it against. A lot of people like to play the no-fear/tough guy persona of being perfectly willing to stand right inside the pocket and throw strikes with reckless abandon until somebody falls, but very, very few actually stay true to that claim. Gaethje is one of the very few who stays true to it through and through, and it's that very willingness to put himself in harm's way for the sake of the entertainment of the fan base that endears him to the MMA community. A lot of people are quick to point to the rankings when talking about who should be next in line for a crack at the gold, but this is something I never understood. Us MMA fans aren't known for our elephant-like memory spans, but it continues to boggle my mind when I hear the media, fans, and fighters talk about those damn rankings as if they ever had any meaning. People forget that ranking system was introduced when the UFC originally signed with Fox. Upon the creation of this system, it was explicitly stated by UFC President Dana White on more than one occasion that those rankings are simply for the casual viewer at home to get a general idea of where the fighter stood. It was said right from the beginning that the rankings' primary usage was for television production purposes only. The execs at Fox wanted it and felt it was important for the casual viewer, so they went ahead and included it. But somewhere along the way, the sport just adopted as being something meaningful and chose to ignore the fact that nobody of authority has ever claimed that they represent the hierarchy of the division. Where I'm going with this is, entire landscapes of divisions change on a whim week in and week out, whether it be because someone scores a big win, someone underperforms, or a fighter gets injured. Big opportunities crop up all the time, and as we know by now, sometimes on short notice. UFC 236 goes down in a couple weeks' time and is headlined by an interim lightweight title fight between Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier. This is a huge fight, and I cannot wait for it. However, and I don't want anybody to get me wrong, I sure as hell am not predicting a pullout nor hoping for one. I'm a huge fan of Poirier. He deserves this opportunity. It's been a long time coming. I also absolutely love Max Holloway and followed his career very closely from the very beginning. But both of these competitors have a history of pulling out of high-profile fights, and in some cases, on more than one occasion. Of course, this doesn't apply to just these two. This is the case across all divisions of the promotion. The point I'm making is Justin Gaethje is coming off of a monumental performance. And not only that, as far as I know, he's coming out of it relatively unscathed. He did say in an interview on the MMA Hour with Luke Thomas this week that he does not take short-notice fights. It's just not how he operates. And I really appreciate that. And I imagine it's one of the reasons he has such an impressive professional record. Placing major importance in getting the proper preparation needed to compete and not feeling pressured to jump into a fight on short notice is definitely the right call, and no doubt it's served him well throughout his career. But I wonder if he would make an exception if, God forbid, something were to happen to the UFC 236 main event. In terms of the type of fight he would be going into against either Poirier or Holloway, it would be similar to his fight against Barboza in that it's a stand-up contest, but of course the intricacies involved with the style of striking of those three is very different. But I wonder how much that would affect the way Gaethje approaches this hypothetical fight anyway. Or maybe, if the highlight was so inclined, a short-notice fight against either Holloway or Poirier would be the perfect opportunity to put that wrestling/grappling prowess on display. I'm not hoping for anybody to pull out of the main event of UFC 236. I always want everybody to be in good health. But in the event something does happen, I hope the UFC has Justin Gaethje on speed dial because the man is deserving of the opportunity should it come up. He's the prime candidate to not only come in there and give the fans what we want to see, but to seemingly come out of nowhere and become the UFC interim lightweight champion.